Oh my days, it was such a great day today. It's just gray and rainy. My client came from the UK, and I like to joke that he brought the UK weather with him because that's honestly what it looks like. Anyway, it's Wednesday morning, and I need to get on top of my shit. There's this proposal which I didn't do yesterday. Yesterday night, I ended up going to sleep earlier than planned. I was so tired. I was just so unfocused. I basically got nothing done. It's really useless. It pisses me off a little bit, but anyway. Okay. But yeah, today I have to pull a miracle out of my ass because I got like 2 projects that have like deliverables due basically tomorrow. That proposal that's due, which has to be a particularly technical proposal. Yeah, and it's gonna be a lot of stuff to handle. But yeah, I think lately my mind's been very a little bit all over the place, which is a little bit annoying. Like, it's hard because especially at the start, I think one of the biggest struggles is the fact that you have to do everything yourself, and you cannot. And oftentimes, like, I'm good at the big picture thinking stuff, and I mean in terms of direction, in terms of like thinking about those principles. Okay, like defining more of the vision, defining more of the long-term strategies and goals, and aligning things. But then at the same time, I'm also obviously responsible for, on a daily basis, getting things done for clients, getting project proposals. All of this stuff has to be done by me because my business is small, right? Like I'm starting, right? Everyone has to start somewhere. And so that's just part of it. And it's just like, oh, look at the view. That's probably one of the biggest struggles, is just balancing just having to do everything, because you got to do customer fulfillment, but also move the business forward. And doing those simultaneously, they're very different kinds of tasks. I think they engage your brain and your mind in very, very different ways, and you have to kind of gear into those. And for me, like, that vision and the strategy stuff comes easier, but I also can't neglect the fulfillment at all. And I would say, like, yeah, sometimes the fulfillment is not the most, like, sometimes I eat shit and I do stuff that, like, am I thrilled about having to write this technical proposal, especially because it's like, I have to look into this app and into this code, and when you're looking at somebody else's code base and trying to write a proposal off the back of that, it's really hard, because, like, half the time stuff comes up that you don't plan, and so, like, it's really hard to explain to the client because they're just like, oh, well, why didn't you understand it the first time? It's like, look, buddy, it's not that simple. But they don't care, right? You still have to do you still have to do an amazing job anyway. And like, like, am I thrilled about doing that? No. Do I need to get on top of it? Absolutely. And there's nobody else who can write it except me. Like, and I just have to do that again and again. And also now I'm thinking about hiring an employee, but I don't want to make the mistake that I made last time, where, like, I didn't realize my cash flow would get fucked relatively soon. Like, so that part's really challenging, managing the cash flow stuff. And as an agency, that's your biggest issue generally. And of course, over time, you build things to a point where cash flow is not a problem. But, like, I have to manage. And because of the nature of development, like, my contracts are large, and so what that means is that, like, you have a small handful of clients. That means that has its advantages, right? Which is like, you cut a new deal, and you made a whole, you might have added 25, 30, 50% to your revenue, sometimes even double it with one deal. But then on the other, obviously the flip side of that is you're less diversified as far as income. And so all it takes is like one client, two clients, where either projects finish or whatever the reason, and you lose a big chunk of your revenue, and suddenly you might, like, depending on your payroll, you might be hemorrhaging money. That happened to me before, and I've learned from that. So yeah, I've made my fair share of mistakes, and I will keep learning from them as fast as I can. Yeah, I need to get on top. I need to get a lot more execution off my plate. I think that's a big blocker right now. Like fulfillment wise, I need stuff, because if I want to scale in capacity, I need to be servicing, like, to reach the goals that I want, I need to be able to handle kind of 5-6 projects concurrently. And right now, if I do that, like, am I able to physically? Yeah. Am I going to have time to put into the business side of things? So, like, no, not really. And it's the thing about, I was reading, the guy who wrote The Buyback Principle or whatever, I don't know his name, but he puts it really well. It's like, you won't grow if it's more painful to grow than, like, yeah, if I can barely sustain 6 concurrently, there's no way in hell that I'm going to grow. Like, I have to grow my capacity as well. And so right now I need to do that and get some of that work off my plate. And that's why I'm hiring for a front-end guy. But there's this whole problem, which is he's got to do good quality work, and there's no guarantee of that until he gets in. And if it's a dud, you just spent time and money on somebody who's not doing great work. No, the good thing is this guy said, like, he's willing to work to show quality of his stuff. So I could probably get some kind of agreement where I pay him less the first month. That's pretty encouraging. That's pretty solid. But nonetheless, there's always risk in hiring. So yeah, but I think that's a key next step. And then from there, I can hopefully, like, handle more project volume and then move toward the new offers and stuff like that. But I have to stay focused, which has been, it's like every time there's this new push in tech. So for example, the Vision Pro just came out, and, like, yeah, there's just a lot of considerations about the future, and I get caught up in too much big picture thinking, when really I should just be, like, dialed in on the focus of today, this week, next month. Like, how am I going to hit the goals that I have in the current vehicle that I have? Because it'll take longer to build a new vehicle, and I don't think that's wise. I have a lot more lessons to learn from this one, so I think I should stick to it. So yeah, but I have to just remind myself of that every once in a while. Anyway, gotta get back, take a shower, then go ham on the proposal, basically. Because this one I know is going to be a harder sell. I know this guy's been fucked over before, so he's more wary. Yeah, I think I've got a good chance, but we'll see. Anyway, gotta work with what you got. Work with the leads that I have at the moment to get me a place where I can then invest in, obviously, biz dev opportunities for other kinds of leads. So it's pretty crucial that I get these deals, even if they're not the most ideal client, because they provide the cash flow to sustain a team with capacity to do the deals that I do want to do. So yeah, anyway, that's my plan for today.